Hello, Eastpak fam. How are you all doing this wonderful, wonderful evening? For any of our French viewers, we have someone special for you. Whew. Where you at, girl? Let's get her in. Hi, everyone. I'm going to send you all some waves. Send me a waving emoji if you're here and you're watching and you're live and you're excited. Yes, come through. Oh, here she at. She's coming in now. Okay, dropping your flags. Everyone drop your flag. Where are you representing?
Hi.
Hello. You are looking very bold and bright in the yellow. Come through.
Thank you. Thank you. I really love your makeup. It's really nice.
Oh, thanks. You know, just a little something for the live. Sometimes I'm just like, how dolled up do I get for these things? Because depending on your internet connection, I could just be a giant pixel. Do you know what I mean? And you won't be able to see any of this, any of this definition we got going on here.
So the connection is going very well. It's like HD, so it's nice. It looks great.
They got me in 4K. We love to see it. So welcome. How you doing this evening?
I'm good. A bit tired, I'm not gonna lie. Today was a long day at work, but good. Very excited. And I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. So. We're going to have a really good conversation with you this evening, talking all about travel, race, identity, hot tips, all that sort of stuff. So before we kind of get into it and we get into the crux of the discussion, tell the people who you are, a little bit about yourself and your favorite travel destination.
Okay. So who am I? Well, obviously Annabel. So I'm 31 years old and I'm living in Switzerland. I have a background in organic chemistry, but more broadly in molecular sciences. And so I have, no, just kidding. Like, really, it's nothing. And let's see. I have two little side projects that I like to work on. I normally work as a sales and application specialist during the day, but lately with friends, we've been doing a scientific podcast in Creole because I'm Haitian. And so we all decided that we wanted to do like a scientific podcast dedicated to just like Creole speakers, well, Haitian Creole speakers, but and generally French Creole speakers can understand it too. And so we've been lately working on that. It's quite exciting and I love it. And then the second thing that I'm working on is the reason why I'm here tonight is because I'm passionate about travel. And so I was invited to join the admin team of a Facebook group that's called We Are Black Packers. And it's a community that's on Facebook that basically is dedicated towards women of color, specifically Black women, but we're not exclusive, let's say. And so we're a platform where we have, I think, over 7,000 members at the moment, where really it's a safe space for Black women to just come around and talk about traveling. So yeah, really, it's really fantastic. The amount of feedback that we've gotten. So many people are like, oh, we needed this. Thank you for having this, for creating this page. And so that's that. But we can talk about Black Packers a little bit more. But let's see. Now, my favorite. Now, that's a difficult question. I realize that I don't have like a favorite anything. There are too many things that I like, so I can never rank them and put a favorite at the top. However, for this question specifically, so it's not gonna be my favorite travel memory. It's gonna be my recent travel memory that I enjoyed. So I was in Greece in October discovering like a tiny island called Ikaria. It's actually related to the myth of Icarus, and it's quite nice. I mean, it's an island that's a bit different from the other Greek islands. It's people there are very special, I would say. It used to be a pirate island, and so it can seem a bit rough, or I don't know, clothes, they're nice, they're very friendly, but still, you know, they're not gonna bend over for you. It's like, oh yeah, you're a tourist, so what? You're not gonna get any special treatment. And so I was walking with an old lady, a 62-year-old that I had met in my hotel, and we decided, okay, that we were just gonna go sightseeing together.
Oh, nice.
So it was really cool. She's really friendly. She doesn't look 62 at all. And so we were visiting some sites, and then at some point we see this guy on a bike. He's like riding on top of the hill, and we're just like, oh my God, who has the bright idea to ride a bike on a hill with this heat, like under the sun? It's just completely crazy. Fast forward like 20 minutes later, we go up that hill and to look over another site, and we end up talking to that guy for like over an hour. He was Italian, like traveling around the island on his bike, like sleeping outside, and we had like such an enriching conversation. It was about everything, like philosophy, politics, way of life, how to travel, and it's just completely crazy that we spent, I think, over an hour speaking with him when only, I don't know, 20 minutes earlier we were just like,
who's that guy?
Exactly.
Oh, that is amazing, man. Like, traveling just exposes you to so many incredible people and opportunities and, you know, situations you otherwise would never come across. And like, that is why it's so brilliant. So what was the kind of the reason for starting this platform that was dedicated to women of color who wanted to travel? Like, why was the need there?
Okay, so the platform started, I think around 2017, and it came about because the original group of admin that was responsible for it, they were part of another traveling group. This one that was completely general, open for everybody. It was an open platform. And then one of these girls, Ticia, she was talking about her experience in India, which hadn't been great. You know, she was a woman of color with her boyfriend, and so her experience of India was not pleasant.
Oh,
and
no.
a lot of people were telling her, well, not people of color, let's say, they were telling her, oh no, they were invalidating her experience, basically. And then in the discussion, a few women of color were saying, you know, this is why we need our own platform, because these things, they have to understand that not all experiences are similar and that there are variances. And it doesn't mean that the fact that somebody had a great time in India should invalidate somebody else's experience. And so that's how it started. And then slowly we realized that, yeah, there was definitely a need for that, especially because the platform really offers like a safe space. So women can just say, okay, hey, is this country Black friendly? Or I've heard these people say that this destination was whack. Is it true? Or even something as basic as, hey, I'm in Mexico. I need a hairdresser. Where can I go? Like something as basic as that. And yeah, it's really nice to see how welcoming the community is. A lot of women have organized like meetups, and they've met travel buddies or just randomly said, listen, I'm gonna be in this city during this time, is anybody gonna be there? Or if anybody wants to meet up, let me know. So yeah.
That is so incredible. Like I literally, I've like clicked on the join thing now. I need to fill out all of the questions because I'm like, I need to be a part of this community. You know, traveling for me, like we were talking about earlier, is something that I really want to do, but also fills me with so much anxiety. Like I know that the reward from traveling is greater than the anxiousness I feel by thinking about travel, but it's like trying to overcome that to say, do you know what, I'm gonna just go and experience something. But like I'm interested to know what were kind of your first experiences of traveling solo, and like how did you muster up that confidence?
So, okay, my experience as a solo traveler came about because my friends were unavailable. I was tired of them telling me, oh, sorry, I can't make it, or, can we do this instead? And, you know, like group plans, everybody's motivated at the beginning, and then the closer the date comes, people are quiet. Exactly. So one day I was just like, okay, that's it. I can't take it anymore. I'm going. And it was just for, I think, a week trip. I think it was in Lisbon, which is a very good destination for people who want to start traveling. I mean, it's in Europe, so it's not as if you're going very far. The culture is different, yes, but there's so many things to do. It's really an amazing city to discover. And so I did that, and that's how I realized, okay, I can actually do this. I can plan my days, I can do stuff. And I know that it's a bit terrifying, the idea of being solo, because what if something happens? But in most cases, many people have discovered that there's a lot of freedom in being
Mm.
solo, because then you don't have to compromise with somebody, because some different people have different traveling styles. Not everybody wants to do the same activities. And so there's that. You can say, oh, okay, you know what? I'm going to spend 4 hours in a museum and it's not going to bother anybody else. I'm going to enjoy myself. So
Mm.
there's that. Second thing is, just because you're traveling solo, it doesn't mean that you're always alone. You can take part in like tours, walking tours, or
Yeah.
any type of tour, and then you'll meet other people there. And sometimes that's exactly how you get travel buddies with whom you can spend, I don't know, a couple of days that you're traveling with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
traveling solo does not necessarily mean that you're alone. It just means that you have the freedom to choose when you want to be on your own.
Period. Because when I tell you, that is what made me be like, I'm just gonna go by myself, because I've
Yeah.
spent so long like trying to organize friends and all this kind of stuff, or like waiting till I had like a partner, and then we would go traveling together.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. And I was thinking, why am I putting all of these imaginary milestones on traveling when I can literally, there's nothing holding me here. I'm not chained up. I'm not in jail. I can go. So why don't
Yeah.
you go? So
I
that was so motivating.
I highly encourage you. Go. If you can, just go do the experience. Start slow. Maybe not somewhere that's particularly far, or maybe not
Mm,
completely different from what you're used to,
mm,
just so that you slowly type of understand like who you are as a traveler on your own. And then
mm.
from there on, sky's the limit. Just fly.
Lisbon is next on my list then, because if you're saying it's,
Yeah.
it's a good place to start, then I'm gonna go there. Um,
Oh, and actually, so I wanted to say, I saw that you didn't reply to the questions, but I was like, I just spoke to her. Approve. So you're already in the group, and you can use the search bar if you want. There are a few feedbacks on Lisbon, so you can have like a
oh
recommendation.
yes, okay, I'm getting into that. Do you feel like you have like learned stuff about yourself through traveling solo, like spending that time just by yourself? Like, has it taught
Definitely.
you anything?
Definitely. It has shown me what type of activities that I want to do. I really like culture stuff. So anything
Mhm.
that's around going to a museum or exploring, like, for instance, a music, going to a bar and just having live bands. I love these. But also in my day-to-day life, I've noticed that, for instance, in Switzerland, it's a mountain country. So I started hiking and so on. And so I like to implement in my travels these nature aspects. So whenever I go
Oh
somewhere,
yeah.
I try to, either do a hike or go kayaking or anything that is related to nature. So I've learned that. But as well, I've learned in terms of the type of traveler that I am, my pace as a
Mhm.
traveler. There are people that are fast paced. So for them, if they have 2 weeks, they can do 6 countries basically in these 2 weeks.
Whew.
I'm not one of these people. I am
Same.
not one of these people. So I don't necessarily need to see everything in a short amount of time. It's just about enjoying myself and being fully aware of what I'm doing. So yeah, that's what I've learned so far. And also resilience, because when you're in a jam and it's like, okay, there's nobody around, I need to do something, you also adapt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I love nature as well. I love hiking. Like that's something I definitely want to do more of. The last time that I traveled for like kind of long haul, I was back to Dominica, and I really wanted to go hiking, and I never got to go. And now I'm like so determined to do it, because it's such a beautiful way to take insights without feeling like you're being static and you're just observing something. Like you're really immersing yourself in the culture. So that is actually a
Exactly.
really, really good idea.
And it's good for you. I mean, you're clearing up your mind. You're not necessarily thinking about your daily struggles or, somebody who pissed you off. It's just like, okay, like taking it in.
Yeah. And obviously, we know that there is a lot of, I guess, anxiety around traveling alone as a woman because of all of the things that could happen to you. How do we kind of, I don't know, it's weird because it's the society that needs to change, not necessarily us.
Yeah.
But in terms of just traveling and knowing the world we live in, what do you do to kind of ensure your safety when you're out and about?
Yeah. So the first thing to know is to always trust yourself, trust your instincts. If something tells you that it's shady or maybe you shouldn't get in that taxi, don't. Like, take the next one.
Mm,
Trust your instincts. And the more that you travel, the more that you should be aware of your surroundings as well. So
yeah.
if you see this man, I don't know, 3 times in a row, or I'm saying men, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to target men specifically. If you see a person
Yeah.
times in a row and you don't understand what it is that they're doing, pay attention to them, watch out for drinks. I mean, basically, the things that you do in your daily life, just because you're abroad, you shouldn't forget about them. You
Yeah.
should still pay attention, be careful. Don't trust anybody. Watch out for your belongings.
Mhm.
Depending on the city that you're visiting, pickpockets might be an issue. And then the second thing is research. I mean, I am somebody, I don't need to necessarily plan every little detail of my trip, but I
Mm.
like to know, okay, where I'm going, what are the possible things that I'll visit, what are the possible things to visit. And then once I'm there, I'll organize my day, I'll talk to locals. Sometimes, you have these, I don't know, travel blogs that give you a list of things to do, and
Yeah.
then you might ask somebody there and they're like, you shouldn't do this is a hidden gem that you
Okay.
should do. Yeah. So research and paying attention, I would say, are the most important things. And then
Yeah.
afterwards, really just don't try to have, always stay open-minded. I often think that if you think that a bad thing is going to happen, it may actually help it to happen. So
Mm.
stay open-minded, really, think about positive things, and then, yeah, it should go well.
How do you decide where you're going to go? Do you just
Ah,
kind of take recommendations, or do you have a list of countries you want to hit?
so I saw there was a meme or one of these travel inspiration things that said, I haven't been anywhere, I haven't been everywhere, but it's on my list. And that's definitely my case. It's
Yeah.
just I could read an article, or sometimes they have these lists where it's top 10 or top 20 destinations to visit in 2021. And I'll be like,
Mm.
oh, this looks good. Or a friend will be talking about her own experience in a country that I have, or in a city even that I haven't been. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I need to go back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it's really anything. Like, dear, I remember for the longest, New Zealand, Australia, they've never quite been on my list because
Mm.
Australia, I always think, okay, there are too many things that can kill you over there. I don't need to go right now. Like, one day maybe, but right now, no.
Them spiders, girl. Mm-mm. It's a no from
Exactly. I
me.
sense like, no, thank you. However, I remember looking at this cheesy, cheesy, cheesy movie on Netflix with Christina Milian when she got that farm or whatever in New Zealand, like whatever it was a horrible movie. But the scenery, the pictures were so beautiful. And as
Yeah.
somebody who likes hiking, I was just like, okay, New Zealand is on my list. I need to go there now. So yeah. And
Yeah.
if it hadn't been for the pandemic, that's actually where I would have spent my birthday. So yeah,
Hopefully things are good soon and you can go and experience everything that New Zealand has to offer. That's actually
totally.
so interesting though. How do you travel but in a way that is affordable? Because I just feel like traveling to loads of places, I feel like the costs can just rack up, be it, flights, accommodation, like insurance, whatever, whatever. Like how do you travel but you keep it not too expensive?
Yeah. So not too expensive. It really depends on people because my budget may not be somebody else's budget. There are people that really like to stay in 5-star hotels. I don't. I like priorities. However, it's all about what it is that you can afford and what it is that is essential for you and what it is that.
Mm,
So, for instance, I like staying. Depending, I always do. Comparison, for instance, if I decided to go in a city for accommodations, I first look at hostels, youth hostels, to see what are the prices, what are the rooms that they can afford, they can give. And I
mm,
know that for some people, hostels might seem like, you're in a community, and but it can be a wonderful experience.
yeah.
As well, some of them offer private rooms. So you can have your private room, especially as a solo traveler. This can be interesting because even though you have your own room, like your safe haven where you're not disturbed by somebody coming on drunk at 3 in the morning, turning on the lights and waking you up, you don't have that. But at the same time, you have the ability to socialize if you want to. You might go down to the bar, or the hostel might organize like an activity, like something where you get to meet other travelers and discuss. So there's that.
Nice. I didn't know that.
Yeah, really, they're quite cool. So don't, and also lately I started seeing that there are some what they call boutique hostels. So they're a bit more expensive than your I don't know, rag shack hostels. Quite nice, and they really take care in the setting and the decor and so on. And so these are also affordable options. And then of course Airbnb. So it's really about like looking at the different platforms that are available to you, and then checking the prices, determining, okay, does this look reasonable? Does this not look reasonable? And then afterwards, food is something that also where money can rack up. I personally love food, and that's one of the things that I appreciate when traveling is the fact that I get to I'm so excited by all the possibilities of new flavors that I will discover. So I also budget for restaurants where I'm just like, okay, I'm not nope. But I know that there are some people where food for them is not the most important thing. And so they're okay with going grocery shopping in the city where they're staying, and then cooking in the hostel and, saving money there. So that's also a tip. And then afterwards, really, it's just about finding good deals. Plane tickets are often the most expensive part. Let's say that you have to just spend in one go. But good tips are usually to not travel during high season. If, for instance, you're not like a teacher, for instance, where you're always on holiday during school holidays, those tend to be the high season. But if you can in May instead of the summer, or September where people have started going back to school, like these are a way to save tip. Like, for instance, for the trip that I took to Lisbon, it was on a random month. I don't even remember which month it was, but my return, the whole flight, the return ticket cost like 60 euros. So
okay. Okay. I am gonna look into that. That's such a good idea, because I think if you're traveling when loads of kids are going like on holidays as well, of course it's going to be like really, really expensive. That is so affordable. And then where did you stay when you were in Lisbon? In a hostel as well?
Yes, there I stayed in a hostel. It was recommended by a friend of mine, I think. Either it was recommended by a friend of mine, or it was next to a restaurant that a friend of mine recommended. So I was just like, well, I mean, might as well stay in the neighborhood. So yeah.
And what are some places that you kind of recommend all Black women to travel to?
Okay, so I'm going to say this and be very open. As I've told you while we were having the pre-chat before, there are destinations that are Black friendly, but still Black people and Black women in particular can have a bad experience. However, overall, the most feedback are positive. I would say Greece, Portugal, had fun there. Where else? Italy can be tricky.
I've heard mixed stuff about Italy, because I want to go because it looks beautiful, but then the people are like, yo, it's not great. What is your take?
Italy can be tricky. Like, I think it's a matter of luck. It's a matter of the city that you're in. And it's also a matter of how easily you get frustrated with stuff. Like, for instance, I remember, so this wasn't a solo travel, but I was with two other friends. We were all of us Black. And then we went to a restaurant, and then we ordered whatever, I don't know, some food. And then the guy came and he was like, and this is your food, brown sugar. And you were like, brown sugar? No, we haven't ordered brown sugar. And he was like, oh, no. In Italy, that's how we call beautiful Black women. And we were just like, oh, okay. Thank you very much. I guess we'll just eat our food now. So yeah, it's like, it's
a no for me.
Yeah. Because the unfortunate thing about like interactions with people who are not from your background is that it can be, they may think it's a compliment, and then it just makes you like, oh, okay, like,
Mm.
So there's always the point where you have to judge the person's intent. Okay, did he want to say something mean, or did he want to sexualize me, or,
Mm.
but yeah, like Italy can be tricky. I would recommend like
Man.
first destinations, definitely Greece, Portugal, Spain. I've had fun in Spain.
Okay.
However, for all these destinations, again, it's about perspective. Like, I think that even though as people of color in general, even within the traveling community, we do suffer and experience racism, and everything that we can experience in day-to-day life we also experience while traveling. I
Right,
think,
right.
however, in most cases, when we're traveling abroad, we still have some privilege compared to the locals who are living there. For
Yeah, of
instance,
course.
I do realize that, for instance, when I travel to Greece, I always have a blast in Greece. People are friendly and so on. But I do realize that I'm seen differently because I'm not migrating there, or I'm not
Right.
on the island that has all the migrants coming in where tensions can happen. So it's
Mm.
important to keep that aware that even though we are a minority, when we are traveling somewhere, we may have a small privilege compared to the minority that actually lives there. But
Of
yeah.
course, of course. Yeah, that is actually really interesting because obviously before the school we were talking about the situation in Bali, and I
Yeah.
think for me that was really really eye opening because there's this whole idea of like, of course, like if you are a black person, you can experience racism, but
Yeah.
you may have privilege in other areas, as you kind of spoke about. And these girls were living in a beautiful treehouse in Bali, paying next
Living
to
life.
nothing for rent illegally, and like that was just crazy. I guess what is your kind of, not take on it, but like how do you travel and remain respectful of the areas that you are going to, especially when you acknowledge you have some degree of privilege?
Yeah. So it's all about research, really, because it's important to research the destination, especially if it's going to be something that is not close to your own culture. For
Mm.
instance, even though in Europe there are different cultures, I mean, the Germans are different from the people from the UK, and within the UK you have such a diversity itself, but pretty much it's homogeneous in terms of habits. So the way
Yeah.
that we dress, the openness of things and interactions with people are more or less the same, or at least similar enough. So when
Yeah.
you're going to a country that is completely different, where, for instance, the main religion there is a religion that is a minority from where you are, where you live, it's important to research and to look at already the etiquette. There are many
Mm.
blogs already available that tell you what to wear, how to behave. And I think that for people who are not just a minority, but also part of the queer LGBTQ plus community. I am not part of that, so I cannot tell them what they should do
Mm.
to prepare for their trips. But I think it's always nice to also see how the community reacts to these, yeah, uh, to your sexual orientation and so on, identity, basically.
Yeah. It's just,
And
yeah, it's
so,
unfortunate that you kind of have to consider all of these things when you're traveling if you're a person who is like both black and queer. And I guess it can be really discouraging. And I know kind of I felt like that as well. But how do you how do you look past that and actually decide that, despite these things happening in the world, I'm still going to, take a bet on having a positive experience. Like, how do you overlook all of the negativity and just go for it?
so I am in general quite a positive person. I'm very optimistic in real life. So I don't necessarily put in my mind that something is going to go bad when I decide to do it.
Mm.
And then afterwards, I told you that before. What I like to do when I'm traveling is that I like to focus on the similarities. It's so easy to focus, to only see differences. And I mean, the world, the media, journals, everything always tells us how different we are from somebody else or from another culture. And what
Mm.
I like to do is that when I travel, I like to focus on the similarities. So start slow on the little things. It could be like
Yeah.
a food that you're used to seeing back home, start with that. It could be like a store that you're used to seeing. Like start slowly and then be open to people because really people are the ones that will surprise you. I've
Yeah.
friends who, despite Iran being seen as, for instance, a closed country, very conservative, etc., that have loved Iran and they want to go back, despite having to, cover themselves, even though it's not something that they do in their real lives. But when they travel there, they abided and everything, but they love Iran and they want to go back, and they thought that the people there were fantastic. So I think it's about being open-minded, staying positive. Yes, there are assholes everywhere. Sorry for my language. And you
That's
may or may not encounter them, but really focus on the little things and then, yeah, start from there.
okay. That is some good advice, actually. I'm going to take it. I'm just, wherever you travel next, I'm just going to be like, girl, please bring me,
Fine.
because I'm really trying to
Honestly,
come
let's
from.
do this. Let's do this. No, not a
We
problem.
can do it for Eastpak. Eastpak, look, I know you're watching. Sponsor us. Give us a little travel series around the world, girl. We will not disappoint. Come on. Like,
Not at all. And we can wear the fanny packs, the backpacks,
you
like
know
we
what
can
I
add.
mean? Hello. Look at this. Look at these ideas coming up. Look, we're too good for this. And I guess for you, I mean, you approach everything really positively and you kind of take a positive outlook. But have you had any kind of negative experiences as a Black female traveler? And, what did you do in that instance and how did you overcome it?
Personally, I haven't. I have been lucky enough to never have had a bad experience, but my friends have. For instance, Rosanna, who is also an admin on the We Are Black Packers community, she
Mm.
had instances where people were spitting at her, or I remember she said something about, yeah, she went to a restaurant, and then, yeah, the waiter never came to ask her if she was eating. So an hour passes by and she's seen other people come in and get served, or at least, interact with the waiter. So
Yeah.
she goes up to him and say, "Oh, you haven't seen me? I'm there." And he's like, "No, no, you're Black, so I didn't see you." So it's like, really, like, there can be instances. I know, I know. Exactly.
Wow.
And there can be instances where, for instance, people think that you're prostitutes, or, it's like,
Mm.
okay, look at her, blah, 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 or they're openly making advances to you. So it's very true. I personally have never experienced that, but from what I've understood, that the girls have recommended, it's really try to not let it get to you. You may get very pissed. It may
Mm.
be humiliating, but you have to be aware that it does not define you. It's shame on the person who's doing that. And you have a right to be there. You shouldn't have to justify your presence anywhere. You are able to travel, so you travel. That's it.
Yeah.
And I really think that despite the negative interactions that may happen, the more we travel, the more we push people comfort zone, and the more we accustom them to seeing us, the better it will be.
Yeah, that's true. It's true, but it's just annoying and unfair that our
Yeah,
trauma should be someone
yeah,
else's lesson. Or
yeah,
like, you know what I mean? We should have to constantly face that so
yeah.
people can suddenly be like, oh, I should not hate Black people. Like, it's just so, it's just upsetting, but it's also like very true. Like, if people don't have any sort of cultural interactions with people who don't look like them or people who are different to them, then they see it and it's unknown and they fear it, and it's just, yeah, it's just kind of disappointing. I just wish the world was different.
I completely agree with you. And it's not just, I mean, even though I was saying that, I don't think that it's us who should take the blunt of this and enlightening these people. Definitely, I think that the travel industry itself should
Mm,
do at portraying, people who travels. The same, how is it? The same critics that we have for normal companies in our day-to-day lives that do basic ads, the
mm,
same thing should be applied to the travel industry. They should show more people of color traveling. They should organize more trips based on Black people, for Black people, sorry. And actually, speaking of that, there is a good group, Madness. There are a few groups that are dedicated, well, that are mostly for English speakers that
mm.
are about that. Especially in the US, there's Nomadness, there's Black Nomad. There are a few like travel agencies that specifically cater to Black travelers, and
Oh,
more.
that's amazing.
Yeah. And more, I think that other platforms have started to notice that yes, there
Mm,
is money there to be made. And I think that as long as we show them, unfortunately, that yes, we are money, so they will do their part and also educate them. So
yeah.
it is unfortunate that it has to go like this, but yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
outside
yeah,
help.
it's good. Like now that you mentioned this, yeah, because I've seen a few like black travel kind of agencies or travel groups and stuff like that. And I'm like, do you know what? Like when we're free and stuff, I'm definitely going to sign up to one of those trips and just go along and just because you might not know all the people there, but at least you're traveling with a group of people, and I think like that's actually really nice. But it's like it's disappointing, and I wonder what do you think the wider travel industry should be doing or even implementing to make the experience of black travelers overall positive?
Well, I mean, definitely representation. Black people are not like we're not a monolith. There are differences in culture, differences in everything that we do. So I think that they should increase representation and visibility, show that
Yeah.
yes, it's okay for us to be in a given context. Like people are used to seeing buses of Asian travelers like in a place that's very touristic. Why can't it be a bus full of black people, whatever
Mm-hmm.
country they're from? So doing that. Also, I think increasing people to have testimonials to say, yes, I have actually gone there. It's not just a face that's on a poster somewhere. It's actually somebody who has traveled, who's going to give her comments and or his comments. And as well, I think that they should listen because clearly this is not something that we're making out up. This is not something that
That's
we're
cool.
thing. So listening to our experiences and understanding what can be problematic and yeah, working together, you might not find a solution that's just works right away, but
Mm.
as long as the conversation is going and then slowly we can actually go somewhere. I think that that's very important.
Yeah, agreed. So like so much has to be done structurally and just in general for the industry, but it's just yeah, it's so much work needs to be done so people can feel kind of positive and less apprehensive about traveling to places that they're not familiar with. I think it just stops a lot of people not being able to have those you're right testimonials or even see themselves represented in certain places. So that is true.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
if you what kind of one thing do you wish you had known before traveling solo for the first time?
I can't think of anything simply because every trip makes you aware of what to do better the next time.
Right,
So there
right.
hasn't been anything where I just like, oh my God, like I wish that anything super dramatic. But as you travel, you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
Travel insurance, very necessary. I know that sometimes it doesn't feel that you need to spend, I don't know, $30 or
Mm.
even $100 on travel insurance, especially if your ticket costs less than that. You're just like, why do I need this?
Uh,
But it comes handy, very
yeah.
handy. Knowing a little bit, I'm not gonna say that you have to speak the language because for
Mm.
French speaking travelers, a lot of time they're unwilling to travel because of the language barrier. So I don't think that you need to speak the language of the country that you're visiting. However, it would be nice to, especially now with Google being so handy,
Mm.
having down a few sentences that you can easily, pop up or read out loud, or a few basic sentences so that people can approach you because it might seem weird, even though uh, you might face somebody who speaks English or whatever native language that you have. They might speak it, but they will definitely appreciate you making the step already to say a few words in their language. Whether it's a
Yeah.
basic thank you when you're getting your food, or a good day when you're meeting like somebody in the street. Really, it helps and it makes you. I'm not gonna say more approachable, but it definitely helps in the traveling experience.
Mm.
And then my other tip would be that's something that I started implementing 2 years ago. Um, I like these neobank stuff. So I have a TransferWise card that I use specifically for traveling. So I will
Okay.
take
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
normal credit card with me, but I will preload like a given amount of money on that card. That will be my budget. for the trip. And it's nice because, first of all, if this gets lost, it's a separate account. It's not linked to my bills. It's not linked to my identity, let's say, in Switzerland. So I'm a bit safer there. But also, fees typically are lower. I'm not going to go into which neobank is better. That's something that you get to determine for yourself. But fees are lower, and then, you can pay in any currency. You don't have to necessarily change the money of before, even though it's good to have at least something so that you can, take a taxi or buy some food. But yeah, I find that the TransferWise card helps, especially if you're on a budget. You really limit yourself. You're saying, okay, I have this amount of money that I'm putting on that card, and that's gonna be my budget. I often go over it and take out my real credit card. I'm just like, okay, exactly. But it starts in the right frame of mind. I only have this, and I'm gonna budget for that. But so those would be my tips that over the years have helped my traveling experience get smoother.
Yeah, I have a Monzo card, and I kind of can use that anywhere without any fees and stuff like that as well. So I'm like, I love it. It's such a dream to use.
Yeah.
But we're in a panorama. We're in a pina colada, pina cotta, a probiotic. Like, we are in it. But
something.
When we are free and we are able to travel, where is the first place you're going? Where are you going? Where are we going? That's the question.
Too many places. But so I would like to actually explore Eastern Europe. I know it's not a destination that first comes to mind. I know. And I know that it's not even for let's say non-colored people, they don't necessarily think about Eastern Europe, but I've had really good feedback. And as somebody who likes to hike, they have lovely sites with waterfalls, like lakes that are just beautiful. And also, the borders there can be very small. So for instance, what I'm thinking about is, as soon as Europe kind of lets traveling be possible, I would like to rent a car in Croatia, like Dubrovnik, and then cross over to Montenegro, and then just do like a road trip there, and maybe even go a bit further down to Albania. But yeah, that would be, I've heard positive things about these regions, and I want to explore them. I really, I know that it's hard to jump, especially for something that is unknown, that doesn't have necessarily the best reputation for people of color. But going for it, just going for it.
I hear that. I mean, I don't know about that trip, but the next one.
Don't worry. I want to do New Zealand, South America. I want to go back to. I've only been to Ghana in Africa, so I would love to go to Nigeria. I would love to Senegal, Ivory Coast. So trust me, there are plenty of opportunities.
Look, in the group, we're going to be talking in the group, figuring out where we're going next. And so what is the future of your Facebook page, of the group you've created? What do you hope happens next? What are your plans?
So I can't tell you much because we have a few things that are in the pipeline that are a bit hush-hush. So, we can't tell you anything. However, we really want to listen to our members, because we've gotten so many positive feedbacks from the community, and we do tell them that they always tell us, thank you so much for creating the page, it's really great, but we're always telling them that it's because of you guys that it's such a good place to be, and so tell us what you want what you expect from us, and then we'll go from there. Now, I do know that, for instance, Insolence, she's one of the admin teams. She would like to, this year she was supposed to go to Costa Rica, but we don't know how things are going to go because of the pandemic. But she wants to go to Costa Rica. And then if she goes, she would like to organize 3 trips, I think, or 3 groups of women from, I think, between 5 and 8 people each time, and then have them come and discover Costa Rica, which I'm definitely going to go to, because Costa Rica, hello. So I'm just like, come on, COVID, go.
In there.
Exactly. And so we're just trying to do things like that. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. One of the our goals would be to become like the trip advisor for French-speaking women of color. And
Amazing.
so we're trying to take steps in order to get there. But yeah, we have different projects and different things that we need to work on legally. And also, you know, we want to do something that is that's good. It's not just something that is done quickly, and then we want our members, our participants to tell us to have a positive experience. It's not about, yeah, you know, taking money or getting rich, not at all. We're very low cost. And so we want to make sure that the experience that we build is going to be right, and that everybody's going to enjoy themselves and get something, like enrich their lives somehow with this trip. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that is amazing, man. I'm so excited to kind of follow along with your journey and see what happens next and what you guys got up to, because it just seems like you've fostered an incredible community of people who feel safe to share their experiences and all that chat. So shout out you, man. I'm loving it.
Thank you.
Well, I think that kind of brings us to our time.
Yeah,
So,
I was just like, oh wait, are we coming to what?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it was quick.
We've just been chatting away, but it's so good, and like I've learned so much from this conversation. I'm definitely going to be watching this back and like writing down all the things, because I think now I'm in planning mode. Obviously, the UK everything should be open by the 21st of June, so like that's when we're going to basically be free. So I'm like planning ahead, trying to figure out, okay, what can I do, where can I go, like what can happen next, and this is like fired me up to get started. So
good.
You
So really don't hesitate to, you know, ask questions, look through. I think that with Facebook anyways, you'll be able to translate, although there have been some posts or some comments in English already. So ask away, really, like you have over 7,000 people. That's like that can tell you what it is. So just ask away, and then, you know, start on your interests. What interests you and what would you like to see? And then from there on, you can move forward.
Amazing. That is banging. Thank you so much for chatting with me.
Thank you for having me.
It's been so good, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, basically. What are you going to do? You got anything planned?
I need to go eat. I'm starving.
Same, actually. I'm going straight to the kitchen as soon as this is done. Well, enjoy that. Enjoy your food. And yeah,
thank you
so much. This has been great.
Thank you so much. It was really lovely. And then I can't wait to chat you up on the, wait, maybe chat you up is not the correct expression. Right. Up. Yeah, okay, exactly. So have a good evening and also enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks.
Bye, gal.
Bye.